This has been one of the most interesting videos I have ever had the pleasure of researching and preparing.
Buckle the f up, because you're never going to see a video like this again.
So the hash wars are not shaping up as Craig Wright probably expected going into this. The Bitcoin Cash blockchain has officially split into two. Now BCH ABC, BCH SV, it's very confusing, doesn't roll off the tongue at all. But in response, Roger Ver has directed what is essentially the entire electrical output of Hoover Dam's generator station to support the BCH network. In order to help him do this, anyone who wanted to mine through Roger's mining pool on Bitcoin.com is forcefully having to have their hash power moved over to Bitcoin Cash. Some are quite unhappy about this, but this is the Wild West after all. I think a lot worse goes on every single day in cryptocurrency than this. Doesn't surprise me. Is the cryptocurrency ecosystem currently worse than the banking sector? That's a topic for another video. Another thought for another video is how Roger and Jihan control a super majority of hash power on the BCH blockchain. Out with the phrase "don't trust, verify" with the blockchain. It's all about trusting those two at the moment. And let's not even talk about the SV decentralization situation. That's an oxymoron. Anyway, back to the topic on hand. Craig has about 3 exahash, I believe it is, mining the Satoshi's Vision chain, so cannot get ahead of the current BCH chain with its around 5 exahashes. If this was a normal fork, it wouldn't be such a big deal, but Craig wants BCH entirely replaced by the new chain, so he needs to get ahead of it. So for all intents and purposes, the fork has failed. Or has it? Craig himself had this to say about the situation. In our hash competition, we have seen the ABC team bring on their strongest sprinters. We are just at the trials and not yet on the finals to marathon, and they have had a remarkable burst to do a 9.9 second 100 meter, unfortunately in the wrong direction. Meanwhile, and then a picture of the hare and tortoise. Ever the optimist, eh, Craig? I guess you have to be, with so many fails. To be clear, the players involved in this war are very much playing multi-million-dollar chicken with each other every day that passes, every single hour, every single block that passes. On the left, we have the BCH camp, BCH ABC camp, which includes Roger Ver and Jihan Wu and their mining pools, Bitcoin.com, BTC.com, and AntPool. And on the other side, Craig Wright and the mining pools Mempool and CoinGeek primarily. Now the SV camp have stated that they are willing to mine at a loss for years, ready to pounce if the Bitcoin Cash miners ever pull a significant amount of hash power away to mine the more profitable Bitcoin chain. So they're all losing money over this. Big money. I think Bitcoin is somewhere around 65% more profitable to mine right now. No, 118%? That is mad. 118%. It's currently very hard to say how much money they're losing out by not mining Bitcoin, or at least having some of their miners move over to Bitcoin. But it is easily, probably $1 million a day, maybe more. Maybe much more.
I'm only burning my half. All you care about is money. This town deserves a better class of criminal, and I'm gonna give it to them.
All of this just for the common good of the common folk, being able to do their grocery shopping on a Bitcoin blockchain that has empty blocks, just as Satoshi would have wanted. Love you, Satoshi. He's basically some cloud deity at this point. Aren't these companies just the loveliest? And it gets crazier still. All may not be as it seems. There is another possible attack vector in which Roger was presented with on a live stream last night while they were watching the hash wars play out.
I put myself in their shoes. What I would want to do is I'd want to take 2/3 of my hash power away from SV, and I'd want to secretly mine on the ABC chain, and I'd want to develop a longer chain on ABC, knowing that I have enough hash power to eventually get the longer chain. And I'd want to wait for the ABC people to celebrate that they have the longest chain. And that would unleash the longer chain that I have onto ABC and reorg the entire chain, going back to the start of the hash battle.
In case you didn't get that, you could secretly mine on the Bitcoin Cash ABC blockchain, silently creating a longer chain if you have the hash power to do it. That is a giant if, but should they be able to get it big enough, they could essentially force Bitcoin Cash to reorganize itself, and then the SV protocol would have taken over.
And something like that is possible if they have enough hash power. So I would hold off celebrating until you can really know that you have not just the longest chain, but so long that it can't be reorged.
So I keep my cards close to my chest still until we 100% for sure know that we won the battle, but I'm not worried about what Ryan just talked about. So.
Now, Roger probably isn't so worried because he just moved over so much hash power to protect the network. So at least for now, the conclusion seems to be a pretty anticlimactic one. The war is not so much an epic battle with a clear winner, but shaping up to be a long and slow siege. So the Bitcoin wars have just begun. And throughout my time covering this story, I haven't even touched on the fundamentals of the two protocols. Yes, the SV chain has a higher block size limit. I just don't think it's all that relevant, to be honest.
To be honest,
I like this quote from CoinDesk. I see this fork as more a social or political battle, but it's disguised as a technical debate. Duh. No company is willing to lose $1 million a day for the good of the people. Essentially, they're trying to build up their own ego, their own dominance in the future. So I guess we'll let them hash it out. Satoshi had this to say about this type of situation back in 2010. I don't believe a second compatible implementation of Bitcoin will ever be a good idea. So much of the design depends on all nodes getting exactly identical results in lockstep that a second implementation would be a menace to the network. Ladies and gentlemen, Satoshi talking about Bitcoin forks in 2010. Love you, man, or woman, or group. I know that Bitcoin has its own problems, for sure. No cryptocurrency is perfect. I'll write that down for later. But I'm so glad Bitcoin doesn't suffer from a supermajority in hash mining pool, whatever, and has no public figurehead. That's great. That's cool. So I guess this video is more of a start of a dialogue. Let me know your thoughts. Let's get some discussion going on in the comment section. Any questions that people are asking, if we can try and answer those as a community. Or does anyone care? Does anyone not care about this at all? I mean, it does have some implications on the market. Like if you're really not bothered, if you have a look at the 7-day chart, Bitcoin, the biggest move was 12.5% basically this week. Its one and only move was to immediately dive that much. Might touch on that more on tomorrow's update. But Bitcoin Cash minus 30%. Now this is after a big run up, but that is a huge fall. Are the miners trying to fund themselves? What is going on there? Are people just losing faith because of these wars? Don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.